So let's see if anybody sees this live stream this morning. Good morning, everybody. We'll wait and see if people pop in here or not. Come on by, man. If y'all see this live stream, come on by. Come say hi. I'm not sure if this thing is going to work or not. I see somebody watching. What's up? Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Who's there? Let me know if you don't mind. Sitting here in my car. Cedric, what's up, man? Hey, good to see you, bro. So we're talking about some stuff about the VA making claims, people trying to make claims, getting out of the military. It's one of the struggles that I went through recently. And some pretty interesting stuff on topic with that. Like to see how many more people come in. Yeah, right on. Yeah, same deal, man. I'm sitting here at work doing my little side hustle. It's what I do. I drive for Uber part-time. So, drive for Uber and Lyft. Ever since I got out of the military, this is what I do now. I was contracting for a while. I was doing some construction stuff, but I fell off a ladder and broke my hand. So, you know, the main source of money is my military retirement and VA stuff, VA disability. You waiting in a hospital? Uh-oh, what's going on, man? You all right? Hopefully everything's okay. Hopefully everything's all right for you, Cedric. You and your family. You're okay? Well, that's good to hear you're okay. Good. So I'm hoping more people will pop in here. I've never streamed from my phone like this. But I titled the video, let's talk about your VA claims, right? Let's talk about the VA. So if anybody's coming by, oh, okay. You traveling? Gotcha. Where are you from, Cedric? If you don't mind me asking, what country are you from? Are you from the U.S.? Are you somewhere else? Appreciate everybody coming by. Good morning, y'all. It's just Carl here, man. Welcome to the live stream. Oh, Quebec? Gotcha. Right on, man. Is it cold up there in Canada? Is it cold up there already? Look, I'm in short sleeve, man. I'm wearing short sleeve and shorts down here in Mississippi. This is where I retired out the military from. I was stationed here 4 or 5 times. So, good morning, Adam. Good morning, everybody. So the main basis of the stream is going to be to talk about. Okay, Tony. Hey, how you doing tonight? Salute, brother. Welcome in. Talk about the VA. Is it cold? Yeah, I'm sure it's down towards the lower mark of the world here. Canada is probably one of the coldest places on the face of the planet. I got a buddy of mine up in Montana. He's talking about his arthritis bothering him pretty much from like September on. It's like down into the 20s and 30s at night. It's like permafrost in that area of the country, here in the northern United States. Where I'm from, up by Chicago, it gets pretty chilly come October, November. Gotcha. Hey, welcome in, Tony. I don't think I've ever seen you on here before. New York is cold? Is it? So Mississippi has been chilly, like for me chilly, maybe 50s at night lately, these last couple weeks. And for me, I have really bad arthritis, so the colder it gets, my hands, my knees, my ankles, bro, the older we get, the colder it gets, the worse it gets, right? So going back, if it drops below 60, I'm screwed. Yeah, yeah, me too. See, here in Mississippi, it stays pretty warm most of the year round, right? Most of the time, it's like 70s, 80s, 90s. Being from Illinois originally, though, originally from Illinois. Thank you for those likes, guys. Being from Illinois originally, I grew up with the snow and everything else. What's up, DP? Welcome in, man. Live in Syracuse, New York. I got a buddy of mine up there in Ithaca, New York. Was talking about how cold it was. Good old Ohio weather. Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny. It's funny how much 10 degrees difference can affect you, right? Of course. Of course. Anytime, DP. So yeah, my channel primarily revolves around video games, Gran Turismo stuff, right? Sim racing stuff. But also, the secondary thing I did this YouTube deal was to try to help people, especially veterans, man. But not just veterans, but also everybody else too, right? But the purpose of this stream is to really talk about the VA stuff. So if you have any questions about the VA, if you have any questions, I'm not a VSO, right? I'm just a person who went through the process. You missed the race Sunday? Yeah. Sorry about that, man. I know sometimes it's hard to get in there on time and stuff. So if you want to race with us on any given day, whatever day is available to you, we'll see if we can throw together a lobby, right? To do that, we can always throw an additional lobby together. In fact, in lieu of that, the league stuff, I didn't want to talk about this here, but we will because it looks like it's league members in here mostly. Or were you talking, Cedric, are you talking about Manufacturers Cup you missed? Is that what you're talking about? Veterans are important. It's sad how they're always put on the back burner. So I have a perspective about that too. It is sad when they get put on the back burner. I have a unique perspective, and a lot of times when I start talking about, when I start talking about this stuff, people tend to get a little bit uptight, maybe a little bit offended by what I say. Okay? So hear me out. Oh, NRL, got you. So hear me out. A lot of the veterans who, in today's generation, I'm not talking about Vietnam veterans, I'm not talking about Desert Storm veterans, I'm talking about like people who served post 9/11, right? After 9/11. Those in my generation. If those in my generation aren't getting the benefits, that's honestly mostly on them because they didn't follow the process. Yeah, for sure, man. I did my time in Iraq and Afghanistan, 4 tours total, right? Spent years and years and years overseas, Italy, Greece, Guam, Japan. Absolutely salute to everyone who ever served. No doubt about it. A lot of them, unfortunately, when they go to get out, they don't follow the process. They're in a rush to get out. They think it's going to be better on the civilian side or whatever. And it is in certain ways, right? But while you're in that uniform, it's easier. It's less stressful in different ways, right? Change is stress. So the expectation, I think, for me personally, my expectation when I went to get out was that it was going to be easier, that it was going to be, that I was going to have more freedom or more movement, more financial freedom, right? And I do because I followed a few steps. I did some things differently than others, right? Wasn't perfect. It wasn't a perfect transition. There were delays in my retirement pay. There were delays in my VA. What you mean, Sutter? There were delays and stuff, and they sometimes unavoidable delays. Soldiers in Iraq aren't getting benefits. They're getting what they believe Americans need to fight for that same cause. Yeah, Iraq veterans, Afghanistan veterans, like I was saying, similar to me, you were a campaign medal, you were in Iraq and Afghanistan. A lot of them, they try to file, but they don't know how to file. There's red tape, right? A lot of them, maybe they don't say the right things at the right time, which is messed up. You shouldn't have to worry about it. You shouldn't have to follow the strict specific process to file your stuff, but you do. You need to write it in a way that your basic person can understand, right? Very rudimentary, no 3, 4 syllable words. You know, when you write your claims to the VA, people need to understand you're talking to someone with a 4th grade education, 5th grade education. You have to, you know, remind yourself you're not talking to a fellow veteran, you're talking to someone who's probably never served, sometimes doesn't even speak English, right? You have, or they speak it, but they don't understand it. They don't, like, it's not the same for them, right? They don't speak the same language as us because they were never in combat. They were never in a situation where their life depended on their buddy left and right? So they don't understand it. Get lost in the mix, going from structured to civil life. My brother had a real hard time getting out. Yeah, been sober over 10 years. That's awesome. Hey, tough times, right? Going through, I went through that. I don't drink anymore because of that. I had alcoholism really bad while I was active duty. I chose not to drink anymore, right? It's a choice that I made, not an easy choice. I have times, I have relapses. We all go through our struggles, right? 10 years, that's a good battle every day, right? Every day is a new day. So, but back to what I was saying, when I filed my claims, initially, I was like, man, I better go and I'm going to go see these veteran services officers down here at this place and that place. Try to sit down and schedule a meeting with these people to help me claim stuff. And what happened was I went to schedule it, and every single time I went to schedule it, they would flake on me. They'd be like, all right, yeah, meet me here at 9:30. Well, at 9:30, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, where's this dude at, right? So I call them. They don't answer. I text message, I email, I don't get a response. 2 days later, I get a response. Sorry, man, my dog died. Blah, 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 blah. So what happened was, every time that happened, I got set further and further and further back mentally, right? And this is the red tape. This is the problems in the VA system and the VSOs and people in the military teaching transition, is a lot of those people teaching these things and doing these things have never actually done it themselves, right? They read a book and they go, well, in a perfect world, this is how it should all work. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. Yeah, a lot of people, going through depression, going through, all the different things, 22 a day. A lot of us have brothers and sisters that have taken their own life because of the issues that they're going through and they don't get help right away. Or maybe they're too embarrassed or they're too prideful to get help, right? I have mental health stuff. I'm sometimes. But I seek counseling. I talk to my subscribers. I talk to my wife. I talk to friends of mine, right? People with similar experiences. Anybody who's ever had trauma can talk to anyone who's ever had trauma if they're willing to open up about it. But when it comes to VA claims, if it cannot physically be seen, it's not easy to get that claim through, right? So if it's depression, anxiety, anything associated, sleep disorders, for me personally, one of my big things was I would wake up in the middle of the night freaking out, not knowing where I was, even just for like 15 seconds. Exercise is important. Oh, absolutely, DP. No doubt. Huge. Exercise, eating right, having a routine, absolutely one of the largest components of your recovery and your day-to-day living healthy life, right? And I'm a smoker, right? I smoke cigarettes. That's the worst thing I do for myself is smoke cigarettes. I don't drink. I don't do drugs, right? Not judging. If you do drink, hey, you do you. If you can control it, you moderate it. But when it comes to making those claims, I ended up just going on va.gov and writing them in very simple language. Very simple language, y'all. Okay? My back hurts because of X, right? In 2004, I was on a convoy from Kuwait. I'm sorry, 2003, I was on a convoy from Kuwait to Iraq. And during that convoy, real life story here, during that convoy, we saw action, okay? We were getting shot at. Maybe not directly at us, but bullets were flying both directions, in and around our vehicles, all throughout that convoy, okay? We were in MOP 4, which is gas mask, charcoal suit, the whole deal, for 3 months, basically, every day, for at least a few hours a day. We're in MOP 4 because of the threat of chemical, biological, and radiological weapons, right, that the Iraqs supposedly had, right? Whether they had it or not, that's, But that experience for me personally was extremely traumatic. Seeing people die, right? Driving down the road in Iraq and seeing dead bodies on the side of the road. Having a friend of mine in 2005, we were sitting there talking, smoking cigarettes, coking and joking, doing PT, working out, doing our things. And this person who was our camp mom, CS1 Regina Clark, you can Google her. She was a reservist that augmented our active duty component in Iraq, in Fallujah, Iraq in 05. Unfortunately, went out on mission, never came back. Those things, even though it wasn't the person to my left and the right on the fighting line, all good, DP. Appreciate it. Although that wasn't necessarily on the front lines in a firefight, that was just simply knowing this person, right? Respecting this person, spending time listening to this person, an older woman from the Northeast. She was like a mom. She was like our mom, basically, right? Well, when that happened, it changed our mindset, right? Changed our mindset. I saw some more direct things, and I won't get into that too much. I'll give you a baseline here. We were at a pump house right outside of the city of Fallujah in 05. Firefights, IEDs going off, combat, type stuff. Was I kicking in doors? No, I wasn't kicking in doors. I'm not a Marine. I'm not a SEAL. I'm not anything like that. I was a CB, okay? I did construction, but we helped support the warfighter. We were out there, and we helped defend if need be, right? You shoot back if need be, fire superiority. But I don't care if it's watching your dog get ran over on the street or if it's watching your best friend get blown up by a mortar. It is trauma, right? At different levels for different people. So those PTSD moments, those things that change us as human beings, are different for everyone. Regardless of military, not military, growing up with an abusive household, maybe your parents were bad parents, maybe whatever the case, right? You experience this kind of trauma or loss. Well, me personally, I disassociated with a lot of the things that had happened in my past. But when it came to the VA, I had to reassociate myself and retell my story to make people understand, hey, these are my mental health issues. This is where I'm at with it. And the VA went, well, okay. So here's where we're going to rate you at, right? And me, fortunately, I was one of the fortunate ones. After just about a year and a half after I got out, I started to get my VA stuff, right? So I'm not 100%, but I got rated, right, at a reasonable rate. Granted, 21 years of service, right? Now, some people, you just do 4 years. That's cool, whatever. You do 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever your contract is. You did your time. You don't need to do 20 years to get VA. You get VA after just a couple of years of active duty, even if you get discharged, especially if you get discharged early for medical purposes, right? Those people, you should be able to hang on. Hang on 1 minute. I'm going to move. 1 second. I'm going to move my car real quick. Hold up, y'all. So I didn't want somebody pulled up and was playing music next to me. I'm going to move a little bit. Doesn't drop. Here we go. That's better. Sorry about that. Somebody pulled up next to me and I had my window down and they were cranking music. I didn't want to copyright. Can y'all still hear me? Does the stream look good? So, you know what? I've never actually counted. Let's see. We won't do ×2 and ×3 countries, right? But Iraq, Afghanistan, that's 2. Kuwait's 3. Italy, Greece, that's 5. Guam, which is technically U.S. territory, but we'll call it 6. Good. Awesome. So where are we at? Guam, Tinian, Saipan, that's 8. Where else did I go? Oh, Spain. Did I say Greece, Italy? We're like 9. Where else? Cuba. Forgot about Cuba. I think that's it. 9 or 10. 9 or 10. Other than like short hops, right? So we went to a lot of other places too, but it wasn't for very long. But I went to all the Pacific Islands. Tinian, Yap. We went to Saipan. All over the Pacific. When I was stationed in Guam, I'd deploy all over the Pacific, going to different areas to do different things. One of the jobs, I was an air conditioning technician. Never went to India. I was an air conditioning technician and plumber and boiler tech. So I would go, when I was in Europe, I was in charge of backflow prevention devices, boilers, air conditioning systems, maintenance, installing, all that type of stuff. Iraq and Afghanistan, we poured a lot of concrete, did a lot of work out there, making things more secure, right? Up armoring, adding, sandbags, HESCO barriers to things, making everything more safe as far as camp goes, all the different camps, and also quality of life improvements, giving the Marine Corps and the soldiers and the SEALs and whoever wanted anything in quality of life improvements, showers and things like that. Yeah, it is, but it's also kind of full of people who don't actually know their jobs, but they're holding down those jobs because they can get by Googling things and searching on YouTube how to, right? Those of us that are actually certified by the Environmental Protection Agency, I have an opportunity to make plenty of money. I just choose not to. I choose not to do that because it's a lot of physical labor, and I don't necessarily need the money. So now I can always fall back on it, right? I can always fall back on it if I need to. Yeah, very physical, and a lot of time, you spend a lot of your time on a ladder. And I'm not very good with my equilibrium. I had an issue where I fell off the ladder about 2 years ago and unfortunately damaged my distal nerve and broke my hand or my wrist. So I try to not get on ladders anymore. It sucks because I really enjoyed, I worked for a guy who's also a retired CB who I was in Iraq with. I worked for him for quite a while, about a year. Wasn't the best money, but the community was still continuously connected to, other people who were in similar fields as I was early in my career. Back in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, 3, 4, 5. We were in and out of Iraq so much that, you really didn't have time to think about a specific skill set or a specific experience. You just go, right? And then you get home and you're like, oh, I did that, or I saw this. I didn't even think about it. I saw this. I saw that. Well, how do you deal with those things, right? And for me personally, it was talking about it and getting counseling. And I didn't do that, though. I didn't. I mean, I always talked about it, but I didn't seek professional help until probably 15 years after I went to saw the most traumatic things or the most complex things. I was like, oh no, I'm a super soldier. I'm better than that. I don't need to get help, And that's the problem, is everybody's like, oh well, I want to join the military and I'm gonna be Captain America and I'm going to save the universe and I'm going to be a hero and all these things. You know, no. Most of us who have served, regardless of branch, yeah, it's a huge step to take. Most of us who regardless of branch, I think, we're not looking for that thank you for your service marker. Most of us. In fact, it's irritating when you hear these things because most people that say thank you for your service, and no offense to anybody, but this is something I think society should know. Most of us, when we hear thank you for your service, it means I'm going to regurgitate the most basic thing that I've ever heard that I think that sounds great. The best way to say thank you for your service is simply by holding your piece, right? Holding your chunk of the pie, right? Do your part in society. Vote. Vote. It's very important you vote. I'm just saying. Very important that you vote. But you're absolutely right, DP. Absolutely. Huge step to seek help and admit that you can't do it by yourself. And also, you know, your loved ones are not professional. For most people, your loved ones are not the professional mental health. You know, that's not the person you should talk to about these things. Sure, you can talk about it with your loved ones, your spouse, whatever, right? Your parents. But the professional help is going to get you the resources you need, whether it's coping mechanisms, your breathing exercises, things like that. That's not something that you can learn from most people from their loved ones, right? My wife is incredibly intelligent, and she's incredibly experienced in her field, right? And I won't put that out there like that, but she's very experienced with this kind of stuff, and she's very educated with these kinds of things. So I'm very lucky to have my wife. But not everybody has that, right? But also finding someone who's unbiased, right? There's no bias towards you when you walk into, hypothetically, there shouldn't be any biases when you walk into private counselor office, right? When you walk into the VA, there's an automatic bias. They're all already going to go, okay, this guy's probably going to be a hypochondriac, right? He's probably going to be complaining about things, the same standardized thing. They have a bias towards you because they deal with veterans every day, and they're not trying to necessarily, maybe they're not trying to help that guy, right? Or that woman, that person, that veteran. Maybe they're not trying to help. Maybe they're just trying to belittle them, or maybe they're just trying to make it harder on them to get disability than it should be. Or not just disability, but also care, right? Seeking care at the VA is such a pain in the ass. But we're talking about here, what I'm primarily talking about is getting that monetization, that monetary amount of money coming in every month for your problems, your disabilities, your mental health, your physical health, whatever the case. Getting that money coming in, that's what this stream is supposed to be about. Getting that money flowing to increase your ability to put food on the table for your families after you serve, okay? After you serve. That's what this is about. The VA is overloaded. It goes very high where they should start. Trickle down. Yeah, well, so welcome in, Sugar. Sugar Shuffles. Appreciate you coming by, RJ. Hey, so you're not wrong. A lot of the VAs are overloaded, and they're overloaded with a lot of situations that could have been dealt with early on, right? So they let people wait long enough. They make people wait long enough after they make their claim to where everything is an emergency all of a sudden, right? Every case is an emergency. They may not have even served, probably just went to school for a degree. Yep, a lot of them. And some of them, many of them, are people that came in from, they weren't even born in this country, right? And there's no problem with that. I don't have any issues with that. But they should be required to not just speak English, but understand. To understand it, right? Understand it in the way that Americans speak English. the verbiage that we use, have a military background of some sort. That's what I ask. You know, some sort of military background, whether you're military family or whatever, in order to work at the VA. Because it makes it easier for those to understand what language we're speaking. It's not just English, it's also the specific terms that we use, right? Inefficient, outdated stuff there is stuck in Stone Ages. Some of it is. And a lot of what I saw at the VA, especially here in Biloxi, Mississippi, is that they have like staff. They have staff coming out the yazoo. They have a lot of employees, but they're all sitting there on their phones. They're all sitting there on their phones. They got their head where the sun don't shine. So even if your job is simple and your job is to pick up a broom and sweep the floor, I don't care where you work. True. But if your job is to pick up a broom and sweep the floor, then do really good at that job. If your job is to admit a veteran into the VA hospital system, then do really good at that job. Answer the phone. That's my biggest problem with the VA. Answer the phone. They don't answer their phone. And they don't call you back. But left brain don't talk to right brain. I can tell you that much. Left brain does not talk to right brain, I promise, in the VA system. So in order to get ahead of that, you have to think like that. You have to think like them. You have to say, hey, I know that if I tell left this, my right is not going to hear the same thing. They're going to hear two totally different things. So now I have to speak in two different languages. They're very basic languages, but they're two different languages. My wife works at the VA in Minneapolis. She is, okay, doing these people's jobs. Wow. A dietitian? Wow. Yeah, well, good on her. Good on her. So going back to what we were talking about, right? Putting those initial claims in, the way that you word those initial claims is probably the biggest component. One of the most important is first impression, right? And also, the VA, for me personally, they sent me to a company called QTC. It's a contractor, okay? They sent me to a contractor to be evaluated for my disabilities. And when I walk in there, I'm looking around the room, right, and checking every way of aggression, right, every way out, counting how many paces, because this is what I do without even thinking about it. Count how many paces it is from the front door to where I sit, and how many possible ways of egress there is out of the building. You know, this is just something I do, right? I'm looking in there and they're like, why is this dude freaking out? You can tell everybody's kind of looking at me funny, right? I am who I am no matter who's looking. Okay, I'm not going to hide it. I'm not going to change it. When you walk into the VA, when you walk into QTC appointments, when you answer the phone, right out the door, the first contact you make with that company is going to last throughout your claims process. So if I answer my phone and I'm in a good mood that morning, hey, how you doing, QTC? This is, it's just Carl here, and I'm doing fantastic. They're automatically going to assume that I don't have a bad day. I don't have bad days. So if I answer it in my worst moments, I'm going to go, yeah, what do you need? What do you need? Why are you wasting my time? I'm not going to freaking talk to them in a positive light, because 9 times out of 10, I'm not in a positive mood mindset, or I wasn't anyway. I am starting to get better now, being more optimistic and stuff over time. But most of us, in my belief, from my personal opinion, most of us coming out the military, especially those of us who served in places with fake wars and all this other stuff, are pissed off, right? So if you're going through, you're extremely angry, or you have a lot of things on your mind that you can't change, you went through a lot of things that you cannot change, and you don't believe in the system anymore because they failed you, you want to come at these companies the way that you are on your worst possible day. When it comes to your claims, your back injuries, your knee injuries, your ankles, don't push yourself to a point, your maximum, right? When you're being, when you're being looked at for disability, when you're being evaluated for your disability ratings, you need to go in there explaining, hey, listen, sure, I can bend my wrist. This is how far I can bend my wrist, but it hurts like a mother when I bend it that far. My normal is about right there. Used to be, I could bend my wrist all the way down, but now it's limited. Why? Because I have carpal tunnel, I have arthritis, right? I'm not going to force my hand. Sure, I can bend it. I can force it to bend, right? Same thing with my back. I'm not going to force myself to bend down when it hurts like hell and I need help getting back up. So you go in there with that mindset, and it's not just a mindset, it's who you are. Ask your wife, ask your son, ask your daughter, ask your mother, ask your brother, hey, how does it look for you when you watch me do my day-to-day things, ops, whatever I'm doing, right? How does it look for you? And if they say, well, you wobble like a duck and you're only 40, you look like you need a rollator and you're only in your 30s or whatever. Well, that's a problem, right? I was running 10Ks, 15Ks, half marathons 7 years ago. So when you think about that, right? At 41 years old, 42 years old, whatever, I shouldn't be having to roll out of bed. You shouldn't either. But mentally, you shouldn't be having these blocks that keep you in bed either, right? Or they keep you down. They keep you held down because you're depressed or your self-confidence is low or whatever. So, not a lot of people in here. I appreciate y'all hanging out, though, for sure. If there's anything else y'all want to talk about, let me know. The sun is hot today. Starting to sweat. While we wait, we hydrate. Right? Drink water. Water. All right. I see 5 people watching. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the likes. I have not been going live on my phone like this because I hadn't thought about it recently. Honestly, this has probably been a long time. It's probably been 4 years since I've been live on my phone like this. Maybe even longer. Usually I'm doing this from my PlayStation 5. And it's been lagging lately. So I got to get a new modem. I'm going today. I'm going to be getting a new modem. No ships, man. I was a CB, Adam. Never on a ship. Construction battalion. Okay. So CBs are a part of the Navy, a very small part of the Navy. We call them dirt sailors, right? Operators, equipment operators, mechanics, plumbers, structural guys, electricians, HVAC, plumbing, all that. Gotcha. Yeah, no ships. Were you military, Adam? I think you were, right? And I appreciate it. Same age as you. I'm the oldest of 4. Both my bros were in the Navy. Gotcha. Right on. Well, let them know, who I am. And if they didn't get their VA ratings, we can talk about it and see if we can help. Oh, you were a Marine. That's right. I wish I had some crayons in here, man. I'd give you one. You might. Appreciate the likes, y'all. 7 likes. Yeah, let's go. So, but again, it's not, look, this isn't about views for me personally. It's not about subscribers. It's not about likes. It's not about any of that stuff. They do help bring other people to the channel, right? Likes and comments and stuff like that. They bring people in. But it's not about that. I really just want, right, RJ? I really just want to be heard. That's it. I just want to be heard. My goal here on this channel is not to ever be monetized. I don't need the money. I'm not looking for extra anything like that. You know, it's just to simply be heard. Her pregnant. I got you. Yeah, you know, we moved. I don't know if you're familiar with Okinawa, Japan, but we moved Marine Corps Okinawa moved to Marine Corps Base Guam, and I helped to engineer, plan all of the utilities, support all the HVAC, all the up systems. Excuse me, all the communication facilities for Marine Corps Guam. Before I left there, that was my second to last duty station, and all of those Marines were getting in trouble out there in Okinawa for different things. For some of those things you're talking about, right there. Not so much dead, but you know, some interesting interactions with the local populace in Okinawa. The Marine Corps, yeah, you know. If you know, you know, folks. Liberty restrictions, things like that. As an outsider, thank you guys for your service. All good, brother. Yeah, there's always going to be banter, man. It's a little like, it's not as bad. Army, Navy's worst, right? Army, Navy is the worst one because, you know, we always say, go Navy, beat Army, blah, 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 you know. But at the end of the day, we all got each other's back, man. I had some jarheads, buddies of mine, you know. Those guys, some of them 03s, some of them not 03s. You know, a couple of arty guys, buddies of mine, recon guys. Had plenty of time and conversations with these people that was always revolving around banter, right? But talking trash, back and forth, locker room talk. But at the end of the day, bro, they had our backs. In Iraq in 2005, I saw some stuff that you can't unsee. And the way that the Marine Corps and the Army, more so the Marine Corps, but the way that these units work together to accomplish a common goal, I don't care how much crap they put out on the news. The United States military has the capability to eliminate any other. Whether it's the SEALs going out there, the Rangers going out there, the PJs going out there, regular Army, regular anybody, even CBs who go out there. Fire superiority. It's all about more rounds downrange than you, motherfucker. You know, I could put more rounds downrange faster and more accurately as a unit. We can do these things. The only problem with it is, back to what we were talking about, is they don't think about the aftermath of all that, right? I hate hearing, oh, China's strong, Russia's strong. No, they're not. Russia can't even conquer Ukraine. Are you serious? China, the only thing China has going for them is we keep buying their garbage. We keep buying their garbage. We keep buying, and we need to stop buying their garbage. Plain and simple. American manufacturers need to make their products a little bit cheaper so we can afford American products again. Right? Can we do that? I don't know. I'm not sure. But, you know, it's a pleasure of mine. It was a pleasure to be able to serve for a while, right? It was time to move on. It was time to move on. And I think that's most people. I think a lot of people that are currently in uniform, I think they're there because they feel like they have to be there at that point in their life. But I also think in the back of most of their brains, they're thinking, I'm going to get the hell out as soon as I can. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all, especially under the current demographic. And I'm not just talking about the president, right? I'm talking about the whole thing, the whole big picture. Because I got something. I got something might shock some of y'all. Doesn't matter who the president is, yo. Doesn't matter. I mean, it does, right? But it doesn't matter overall. They're both eating off the same expensive-ass China, right? The glass that they eat off, not a country. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. They both eat off the same expensive piece of freaking the same plate, right? Both parties. It's important to vote because you want to put someone in there that's puppeted towards your beliefs, right? The most possible. Yeah. I don't want to sit here and say Trump 2024 or Kamala can't whatever, right? 2024. I'm not gonna get into that. I think most of you know who I'm rooting for here, but at the same time, I need people to understand my perspective is that um, there's some things on both sides that are problems for me, both sides. But my priority when I vote, my priority is going to be the cost of a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, right? But second to that, we talk about the abortion issues and stuff. We don't need extremism far left or far right. Right. Not so common, is it? Yeah. I understand you're not looking for, my endorsement or whatever. I can tell you this. 6 years ago, I was 100% for Trump. 100%. Just like I was for Bush when Bush got elected. But guess what? President Bush and Rumsfeld and all those Republicans, they did what they did for the Iraq War, 9/11, the whole thing. That's the whole reason we're having this discussion right now. So, I'm not a person who votes based on the letter before the name. I'm a person who votes based on records, right? What has this person done for this country? Or what has this person done for their state? What has this person done for their town in the origins, where they came from? Where's the rudimentary belief? Where's the proof that what they're saying at these campaigns is actually proven, right? On their campaign trail and at these debates. Where's the historical data that shows me what this person is saying is truthful? If I don't have that, I'm not voting for that person, right? We have historical data for economic growth and things like that for former President Trump. And we have some data for the Democrats, their nominee, right? But what do you do with that data? So anyway, we're diving down a rabbit hole here a little bit, right? But what do you do with that? What do you do with that data? Do you take in the data that you see? Do you take in the data that you hear? Do you take in the data your brain receives when you're walking through your grocery store? All good, brother. You walking through your grocery store and you see that the cost of a gallon of freaking milk has doubled, right? Or the price of bread has doubled, or the price of gas is artificially low right now because we're getting ready to go to an election. But you look at it 10 months ago and it was double what it is now. And it's going to go back to that. Inflation, right? So we need someone in charge who's going to lower that inflation rate. They're going to freaking figure that out, right? Figure out how to keep the rates, definitely keep it from going up any higher, right? Can it be dropped anymore? I think a lot of it too, it's not just inflation, but these companies are stingy. Walmart, Winn-Dixie, Rouse's down here in Mississippi, a lot of them have elevated their prices because they can get away with it. And there's no regulatory action being done to keep those prices down besides inflation. So can we get a regulator, someone who's willing to put legislation in place to say, hey, listen, if you operate a grocery store, especially in an area that only averages $7.50 an hour pay, right? You can't charge $9 for that gallon of milk. You're not allowed to. You pay $3, charge $5. It's regulatory. Markups can only be a certain percentage. Something like that. And then you can handle all the other things. Are we going to drill offshore? Or are we not going to drill offshore? Are we going to frack? Or are we not going to frack? Are we going to trade with places like China? Or are we going to stop this nonsense? Are we going to manufacture in America, or are we going to continue to export everything, including our labor, or import our labor, or whatever? You know, all these different things. Are we going to continue down the same trend we've been on, or are we going to actually change and do something about the problems that we have? You know, well, VA, same deal, no different. Same deal. You know, that's the person in charge of the VA is an elected official. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the secretary of the VA is elected, right? Or is it appointed? I'm not sure. I gotta look it up. But either way, even if it's appointed, who's he appointed by? Right? He's appointed by the president, I think, or voted in. I gotta look that up. I'm gonna note that down. I gotta look that up. But either way, even if he's appointed, maybe appointed by someone who we elect. So think about that. Voting, we go back to what we were saying, voting is very important. It's very important. Locally, you know, federally, at all levels, it's very important to vote. Even your city council, right? Your city council, it's important to vote in your city because you want your city to be better, right? You want it to be clean. You want the taxes to be low, right? Low, but high enough to actually fix the roads and keep the utility systems up on par. You look at the state of California and you go, okay, well, that's a liberal state, right? It's been ran by liberals for a long time. What's the state of California look like right now? Everybody's leaving. Why are they leaving? Well, they're leaving because they're tired of the bullshit, right? They're leaving. They're tired of the taxation. They're tired of the liberalism. So they're leaving. Well, okay. We did it with Obama in 2008, President Obama. We put President Obama. President Obama was from my home state, Illinois. His politics were in Illinois originally. And what he did in Illinois was terrible. It was terrible. It's just like California. So why the hell did we elect him? We wanted the whole country to be like that? Seems like it. Cost of living is reflected by the average wage of the region. Just had a huge debate with old lady's aunt. Keep in mind the fact that they're from Long Island. Oh, yeah. But see, so places like Mississippi, I'll give you what we have going on down here. Here, closer to the coast, is one dynamic. But in the same state, just a couple hours away, it's a totally different dynamic. You have the rural communities, right? You have the urban communities down here, right? More city-like. Big cities like Jackson and Gulfport, Biloxi area. It's a larger functional city, so to speak. Not really city like Chicago, or Atlanta, but it's a lot more populated, a lot more jobs, a lot more economy down here. But if you go 2 hours north, there's nothing. If you don't work at a gas station, you don't work at a Dollar General or a Walmart, essentially there's no jobs for you, right? So working at Taco Bell making $7 an hour in BFE, Mississippi, right? That minimum wage, you could do okay at $7.50 an hour in, whatever small town in the same state. But down here in where I'm at in this county, right, making $7.50 an hour is not enough. They're charging almost $400 more a month mortgage for a one-bedroom apartment. Not mortgage, rent for a one-bedroom apartment is almost $300, $400 more a month than my 4-bedroom house mortgage. Think about that. These young people coming up, man, they're coming up out of high school and stuff, trying to get their lives going, coming up out of college, trying to get their lives going, and they can't even live in a trailer for less than $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 a month, right? A one-bedroom apartment for less than $1,900 a month. That's more than my damn mortgage for a 4-bedroom house. There's no regulation. There's no regulatory action being done. Some of the other levels might be just as important, if not more, at times when it comes to voting. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not just those presidential elections. That's what I was talking about. City council, your school boards, state officials, senators, right? I'm going to vote for someone at my state level that's willing to go to DC and get on that issue, whatever those issues are, and stand on that floor and keep that floor open as long as possible until they establish themselves and get something accomplished, right? Need someone with a spine and a backbone, right? Yeah, I can't imagine going through a home buying process right now, VA or otherwise. You know, when I bought my last property, I won't get into very specific things, but I can tell you, in 2019, when I bought my forever home, my wife and I bought our forever home, interest rates were wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But now I wouldn't buy a house. Hell no. Not at, what is it, 5, 6%, 8%? I don't even know. It's high, right? It's at least 3 to 4 times higher than it was in 2019. Starter houses from the city, almost 300 grand. Yeah, itty bitty little 1,000 square foot houses. Same thing here. You know, we paid a couple hundred for ours. It's now evaluated at over double that. I'll never sell it because I would need triple, 3, 4 times that to live the same as I live now. Sunlight's bothering me here. COVID, amazing interest rate we have. Yeah. Well, COVID, in my opinion, the scamdemic was exactly what I said. Scamdemic. I'm not saying COVID wasn't real. I had friends of mine. In fact, my grandma died from it, right? Supposedly. She was 97. She died from being 97. Let's be real, right? But the scamdemic, the overinflated nonsense that happened associated with COVID in this country that we allowed to happen. Yep. We allowed it to happen. This country failed miserably. The world failed miserably when it came to dealing with COVID. Yep. But what do you do about it? You know, it's not just about complaining. If I complain about something, I promise you I have a solution to that problem. Executing that solution is maybe a different story, right? But we try and we move forward. So what do I do about it? I work more. I try to find better ways to make more money, more efficient ways to make more money, passive income, side hustles. I drive for Uber as a side hustle. It's a supplementary thing to my retirement. Supplemental. But yeah, prices haven't come back down, and I don't think they're going to. I just hope they don't get any higher. Anyhow, hey, we're going to go ahead and end the live stream. I got some work I got to go do. I appreciate each and every one of you coming by. Hey, drop in the comments if you watch this at a later date. Drop in the comments. Let me know. You got issues with the VA? Have you had problems filing your claims? Maybe you didn't file your claim. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you feel like whatever. Right? Let me know. What's up, man? Let me know. I appreciate each and every one of you. You take care of yourselves, all right? We'll see you again soon. We get a new modem. Today, my plan is to go get a new modem. I'll be on PS5 doing the Gran Turismo deal. And we'll see y'all soon, all right? Take care, everybody. Thanks, brother. And I love you guys, man. In a right? Take care, y'all, for real. Peace.